Hey there, happy gardeners. I'm Fionuala. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. I hope you're having an absolutely fabulous day. Hey, we're indoors today, and if you want to learn more about houseplants, how to grow them, improve your indoor jungle, you've come to exactly the right place. So we're going to walk around and have a look at the various houseplants that I've got going here, but we're going to start with light requirements. Say you're just starting out and you want to get a houseplant collection going. First of all, look around the room that you're in and where you're envisioning these houseplants are going to be going. Light is incredibly important. If you live in a dark apartment, a basement apartment or something like that, don't worry, there are definitely some plants for you. If it's super bright and all windows and tons of light, there's plants for you too. Something in between, you're hitting this sweet spot. Most houseplants really appreciate bright indirect light. So let's walk around and have a look at the different houseplants that I love, and we'll talk a little bit about where they should go and what they like. Let's start with light requirements. You've already checked out your apartment, your house, your room, wherever it is you want to put your houseplant. You know the light requirements. Just say it's a dark room. You've got a couple of great choices to choose from. Right in front of me here, I've got a ZZ plant. It's got a great name, Zamioculcas zamifolia, something like that. It's way easier to say ZZ. Fabulous plant. Can go in such dark situations, it's amazing. All your snake plants too, they can take very dim low light situations. And the ficus, anything ficus decora, it's for decorating. Even in the lowest of lights, your ficus decora, anything is going to be happy. Now, having said that, they can also take quite a lot of light. So for your bright light situations, if you have a cactus, I'm not finding any here today, but a cactus and an aloe, for example, this little aloe vera, it's going to completely appreciate a sunny windowsill. Probably apart from, June, July, August, possible heat waves, direct sun through the window. Other than that, really bright light. But most of the houseplants that we all know and love, they like bright, indirect light. They don't want to be getting hit by that afternoon sun that comes through the window in the middle of summer that will actually act like a greenhouse and cook your poor plants. Think about it. They've come from the tropics and the subtropics, most of them, and most of them are understory plants. Try to mimic that as best you can. Bright, indirect light. That's the key for most of your houseplants. So you've got your houseplant. You've had it a couple of months. Here we go. You look, you see roots popping out from the bottom. This means it's time to repot. And what you're going to want to do is to pot it up into a pot, not too much bigger, but definitely wider, definitely deeper. Give those roots room to grow. So you need to pick a soil that's similar to the soil that's in the pot already. This here is a little asparagus fern, the Sprengeri variety. So what I would do, it being a fern, you want to go for a soil that drains well, but at the same time is rich and kind of moist, if you see what I mean. What I would do here is use this wonderful little organic potting soil mix. It's really great. And if I had it at home, I would also add a little bit of peat moss. Peat moss has been kind of hard to get lately, so this will probably work just fine. If it's a cactus or a succulent you're potting up, go for a much better drainage situation. This cactus mix is ideal. So let's talk about feeding. Houseplants, even though they're indoors, and this is your indoor jungle we're talking about, they are sensitive to day length, and they're sensitive to the seasons, which is really cool, I think. So you don't want to feed them in the winter months. You kind of start in spring, To me, I always do March 1st. That's the date. I start feeding my houseplants March 1st, and I quit at the end of September. And what I do is I use a liquid fertilizer every 6 or 8 weeks or so on all my houseplants. The same thing, they respond really, really well. What I like to use is a fertilizer that you can dissolve in water. So you're just adding it in on one of your regular watering occasions every 6 to 8 weeks. If you got yourself your fertilizer and it's great, you love it, it works great on all your outdoor plants, you dissolve it in water, and just say, for comparison, you use a tablespoon of that per gallon of water. For houseplants, I would cut that dosage in half and use half a tablespoon per gallon of water and use that to water your houseplants. That's what I do at my house. I have very, very happy houseplants. Here's my half a tablespoon. Pop it right in. I never use freezing cold water on my houseplants. Obviously, you know, there's subtropicals and tropicals. So mix in a little warm water. It's just kind. So you get a good lukewarm, tepid sort of water situation. Mix it up really well. Get that fertilizer mixed in really, really well. Then let's go feed some plants. As for watering techniques, every houseplant has different needs, and you're going to get to know your plant that you're growing in your situation pretty soon. But just for a general rule of thumb, you're going to want to wait for the top inch of soil to dry out before watering again. Now, this huge snake plant here really doesn't need a lot of water. Also, it's in a very large pot, so I kind of go for 2 inches of dry soil before it gets watered. And today's the day. It's going to be very happy. Other houseplants, this guy is in a 6-inch pot. I'm double checking, top inch is dried out. Yep, it's going to get some water. Now that peperomia doesn't need that much water, but if you're in a very warm house, you keep your house warm, fans going or whatever, you might want to check on it. It's probably going to dry out a little sooner. These little guys, let me just point these out. These are string of pearls. They are in the cactus and succulent family, so they really do not want to be watered much at all. I kind of give them a glance. I would let the whole pot dry out before re-watering. But when you come over here and you're looking at the ferns, these gorgeous mother ferns like to be watered a little more frequently. So you're not going to really want to let it go anywhere as long as your regular houseplants, definitely not as long as your cacti, your snake plants, or your ZZ. So for this one, I would go 1/2 inch. And I check with my finger rather than a moisture meter, because you're using a couple of methods to really check to see if your plant needs water. You're eyeballing it. You're feeling with your fingers. You're using your own senses to see what your houseplant might need. Sometimes I find if you're relying on an outside source like a moisture meter or hygrometer or something like that, you tend to rely on it too much and not the actual evidence you're getting with your own 2 eyes. So that's how I do it, and I've been pretty successful with my houseplants. Now sometimes if you go on vacation and you forget and you've left it a little bit too long, you need to revive somebody, you take the whole plant out, you take it to your kitchen sink, you soak it, you make sure it's finished dripping. The water has to go through. You really do not want to leave your plant sitting in water. Ferns are a little more forgiving in that regard, but most of the rest of your plants will hate it. And a sign of too much watering can be yellow leaves and leaf drop, which weirdly enough is the exact same signs as if you forgot to water and you haven't watered it at all. The leaves go yellow, the leaves drop off. So again, you're using your own senses to figure this puzzle out. You double check, you feel the soil. If it's soggy and wet, you know you've overwatered it. If it's dry as a bone and dusty, you know you've forgotten to water it. And you take steps to figure it out and fix it. Don't forget, most plants want to thrive, they want to live, they want to keep going, and they want to be lush and green and beautiful. So you can quite often bring back most plants with just giving them the care that they need. Humidity. You know, here in Petaluma, we get fog a lot, and we have a kind of a natural humidity going on here. But if you live in a drier part of the country and you're growing houseplants that you know would appreciate some humidity, grab yourself a mister and make sure you spritz those houseplants on a regular basis. Pest control. So most houseplants, they're indoors anyway. There's generally not a lot of pests that you're going to have to deal with. But some plants, such as these crotons, they have a susceptibility to spider mites and other plants that we've had here before. Not that they had them here, but I've had customers come back and say this has been a problem. Aphids can attack some things, which is always very odd, a little aphid moving indoors. So it's a great idea to go through your plants. You know, every 6 weeks ago, maybe right before or after you've done your feeding, have a really, really good look. And make sure your plant is bug-free, fungus-free, and just as healthy and as happy as can be. It's not hard, and you can also spot, you know, if there's a dead leaf for whatever reason, and take care of that during your inspection. So just say you did find some bugs, neem oil is a really, really great spray for houseplants. It's safe, it's effective, it's good for organic gardening, and you don't need to use a lot. In my little walk around the houseplants today, I could not take my eyes off of this black anthurium. It is just stunning. I'm partial to anthuriums for a whole bunch of reasons, but this black one is like particularly stunning. So there you have it with the houseplants. Hopefully after today's video, you've learned how to watch for the light situation in your house, how to water them, what sort of soil they need, how to keep an eye out for pests, and how to feed them to keep them at their best in your own particular indoor jungle. I hope it was helpful. I hope you liked the video. Like, subscribe, share, follow me on Instagram, find me on Facebook, but best of all, come on in and visit. Happy gardening!